As a child, I dreamed of being a veterinarian, and in junior kindergarten, I remember my teacher telling me that I could be anything that I wanted to be. I always excelled in school, and when a lot of my friends were out playing or skipping class, I was doing extra homework and reading ahead. Because if there was one thing that I knew, it was that to be a veterinarian required working hard and good grades. I graduated top of my class and was accepted into the biology program at Queen's University. And in my first year, my dreams of becoming a veterinarian were shattered. And not because I did not understand the content or did not apply myself in class, but rather it was because my first year biology course, which was a required course in my program, consisted of 3 exams, all of which were multiple choice and all of which I failed, just like every other multiple choice test and exam I had ever written. 15 years later, as an educator in the public school system, I find myself wondering if differentiated instruction had been common practice then, like it is becoming now, would I have been able to pursue my dreams of becoming a vet by pleading that I be able to demonstrate my understanding in such a way that would allow me to succeed? Differentiation is an approach to curriculum instruction that systematically takes student differences into account in designing opportunities for each student to engage with information and ideas and to develop essential skills. According to Carol Ann Tomlinson, differentiated instruction is a teaching philosophy based on the premise that teachers should adapt their instruction to student differences. She states that rather than marching students through the curriculum lockstep, teachers should modify their instruction to meet students' varying readiness levels, learning preferences, and interests. Flexibility is the hallmark of a differentiated classroom, such that the teacher must first identify, understand, and appreciate the diversity of the students in the classroom, and continuously adjust the content, process, and product so that each student is able to maximize their growth and achieve success. Differentiated instruction has only recently become common practice within elementary and secondary schools. It is interesting to note that throughout the 19th century, school was perceived as unnecessary because much of the knowledge and many of the skills that were seen as essential for children to be successful, contributing members of society were ones that could be taught and learned at home. Formal education in schools were seen as a frivolous novelty for the rich, and it was not until the onset of the 20th century that people's perceptions surrounding learning really started to change. Up until recently, what to teach and why to teach it was the primary, if not the only, focus of education, and often the objectives outlined in the curriculum were highly specific and reflected the interests of a small group of influential and powerful people. These same powerful people, or as some call them, the higher-ups, have now shifted the focus from what to teach to how to teach it, and now expect teachers to differentiate their instruction so as to meet the individual needs of all students. More simply put, it is no longer enough for children to simply have access to the curriculum, but it is now the responsibility of the teachers to do whatever is necessary to ensure that every child is able to reach their full potential. The traditional classroom only allowed some students to achieve success, whereas in a differentiated classroom, it is expected that all students can be successful in learning the curriculum content. It is important to note, however, that the dynamics, diversity, and complexity of the traditional elementary classroom has changed significantly over the years. Not only have classroom sizes increased, but teachers have students from different cultural backgrounds working at various academic levels and with different needs. Virtually every classroom has become a mixed ability classroom, with students who have been identified as gifted, students with disabilities, and grade level students all learning together in the same environment and at the same time. Thus, in order to ensure that every student have the opportunity to reach their full potential, teachers must recognize and cater to the individual needs of each child. Or rather, teachers must differentiate their instruction, which according to Taff and colleagues requires that teachers provide entry points, learning tasks, and outcomes tailored to the student needs, and that teachers respond to learner needs in the way the content is presented, the way content is learned, and the way students respond to the content. Because every child learns differently and every child is different, the most effective instruction is designed to fit each learner. When differentiation is viewed in this way, the role of the teacher as an informed decision maker is paramount. However, as an educator in an elementary classroom, I understand firsthand the challenges that teachers face with attempting to differentiate instruction. Lack of resources and support, responsibility to cover curriculum content, lack of understanding, fear of failure, and resistance to change are all reasons why differentiated instruction although great in theory, has not become common practice for all teachers. Perhaps if differentiated instruction were like report cards or IEPs and teachers were reprimanded for not doing them, then there would be greater teacher buy-in. But the reality is that there is no way to ensure that teachers are appropriately and effectively differentiating their instruction for each student. And thus, it is crucial that teachers understand the benefits, are provided with proper training, have the proper supports in place, and feel confident in their abilities, if it is to be expected that they replace what they know works with the unfamiliar. The benefits of differentiated instruction are grounded in research that shows that a large number of students are able to achieve success when teacher instruction is tailored to their specific learning style. And what every superintendent, principal, vice principal, and teacher wants is to see as many students successfully complete the curriculum as possible. As such, it should be assumed that every teacher would appropriately differentiate their instruction and assessment within their classroom. However, in the articles that I have read and the research that I have done related to the challenges associated with implementing DI, it has become clear that many educators are resisting the change and are reluctant to give up traditional methods of teaching. Robinson states that there is no system in the world or any school in the country that is better than its teachers. Teachers are the lifeblood of success of schools. And if success is measured by the number of students who graduate high school and move on to pursue a post-secondary education, then it is imperative that we overcome the resistance from teachers to implement differentiation strategies, so as to ensure that every student in every school and in every classroom has equal opportunity to succeed. Administrators providing teachers with paper copies that define differentiation instruction, or superintendents informing principals that they must tell teachers that they should be differentiating their instruction, is not an effective way of trying to create change within the school. In order for teachers to buy into change, they must feel confident in their ability to implement the new strategy, feel comfortable with the possibility that they could make mistakes, and have the opportunity to collaborate and communicate with colleagues. It is imperative for change to occur that educators are provided with the proper resources and training to develop their own self-efficacy and confidence. They need to be made to feel like they will not be judged or reprimanded for trying something new. So often, teachers are told what to do, and policies that have a significant impact on teachers are developed and put into place without first considering the opinions and perspectives of the teachers. Over the course of the last 10 weeks, I have learned that in order for change to happen, all those affected by the change need to be allotted the opportunity to have their opinions, ideas, and concerns heard. Barrell suggests in his article, Two Paradigms About Resistance to Change, that when resistance to change is interpreted as a resource or a feedback, change recipients, in this case the teachers, are perceived as important actors involved in the change. In this paradigm, common strategies are to communicate, listen to, and understand objections, remove obstacles, and involve stakeholder. Thus, when considering differentiated instruction, it is crucial that teachers are not only provided with proper training, but allowed to practice applying their new skills in a safe setting and allowed to ask questions, seek clarification, provide suggestions, and voice their concerns. Change requires support and collaboration, and often teachers will go to workshops, learn great things, and feel inspired to put what they have learned into practice. However, workshops can be overwhelming in the sense that so much information is provided in a very short amount of time. And although workshop leaders often provide concrete examples of how strategies can be applied to the classroom, schools and classrooms differ significantly in terms of leadership style, school culture, and student population. And thus what might work in one context may not work in another. If every teacher was provided with the same professional development opportunities and required to attend training related to differentiated instruction, teachers would be more willing to take risks and try new things because those around them would be doing it too. The way teachers have taught traditionally will not change simply because someone tells them that it needs to change. The teachers themselves need to change and need to become believers of what they are being asked to do. There needs to be collaboration between all stakeholders, those doing the research, those creating change, those implementing change, those responsible for ensuring people are changing, and those expected to change. There needs to be less competition between school boards, schools, and teachers, and more recognition and understanding. recognition that one size does not fit all, and understanding that change takes time and practice. I wonder now, if differentiated instruction was required by teachers at all levels of education, would I have had the opportunity to demonstrate my knowledge in biology through another form of assessment and have become a veterinarian like I had always dreamed? Either way, as a result of my experience with traditional methods of assessment and my inability to pass a multiple choice exam, I now have the chance as an educator to ensure that every child in my class has the opportunity to reach their full potential.